Hello everyone and welcome back to Adobe Premiere Pro, where today in the software we're going to learn about the pen tools and all the shape tools inside our tool panel. So let's not waste any time and get right into it, okay? Alright, so we know that the pen tool is located in our tool panel right over here, and it is over here right below our slip tool, as you can clearly see. Okay, so what is our pen tool and what do we use it for? The pen tool in Adobe Premiere Pro is a versatile tool used for creating and manipulating keyframes on the timeline over here. It allows you to create precise customizable changes in the properties over time, such as adjusting audio levels, applying effects, or animating motion. All right. So in order to use the pen tool, let me explain you the steps you need to do. Okay. So first, we know we have to click on the pen tool icon in the tool panel, or you can press the keyboard shortcut P on your keyboard to activate the tool. All right. Then we will basically use it to create keyframes on our timeline panel. So for doing that, we have to position our cursor over the property that we want to modify on the timeline. So before I do that, I want to double click this with our selection tool, because we can also not do that with our pen tool, as you can clearly see. Now after that, we have our thumbnails up here. Now what you can also do is basically go over here and just select video head thumbnails. That way it will not change the display that is being shown over here to us. Okay, so after that, let's say we wanted to create a keyframe. In order to do that, we just position our cursor again over the property that we want to modify, and now you can see that our cursor has changed into a plus sign. All right, now if I click on this part of my video, it will basically help us to create a transition, which is basically like a fade in and fade out transition. Okay, now we can go over here basically and click over here on the straight line to make our keyframes. As you can see, there's a blue dot over here. Let's create another keyframe, and there you go. Now we can also move our keyframes like this. As you can clearly see, I'm moving it left and right using my mouse by holding the left mouse button. All right, and here you can see that I have 4 keyframes. All right, now in order to create a fade in transition, we have to first go over here, put it down all the way below. Okay, after that, you can see that in the program monitor, it is showing me a black screen. This is because it is reduced its opacity to 0%, which is why we cannot see the video. All right, so afterwards, what I'd like to do is basically gradually increase the second point, so I'll do that. All right, then over here I want to create a total drop also, so I'll do that. Let's add another keyframe over here. Okay, now let's go over here, let's add another keyframe, and I will do the same thing for this video. I want to make it like that, so there you go. Put it down, put it in the middle, and there we are done. Now what we can do after this is basically play the video and see the transition effect so that you can understand what I just did here. So now let's play it. Okay, so now you can see that our video clearly fades in and fades out with perfect transition, and it looks pretty good, right? So now that I showed you how to create transitions on your video using the pen tool, I'll show you how to create transitions with your audio. Now it's just the same thing as with the video. We'll just click over here to create keyframes, and then we can easily move it up and down. Now, before I reduce the opacity of my video by moving it up and down, But for audio, what this will do is basically reduce the volume that is present in my video. So if I totally turn it down, you will notice that my video has no audio at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is basically create keyframes over here so that I can easily have some effect. All right, then create a keyframe here, here, and here. There you go. All right, let's create another keyframe here so that it gradually goes up and there's not like a sudden jump. Okay, you need to make sure when you're using keyframes for your video or audio, you need to make sure that it is a gradual increase, not like a sudden increase. That will be a lower quality of video edit. Okay, so now let's go ahead and play the video and see what it sounds like. All right, so now you can see here that the video's audio has also been affected by our pencil using the keyframes that we just put inside the line over here. Okay, so this is how you basically create a transition of audio and video using the pencil. Okay, now I will adjust your keyframe values or even change the way your blending options are. Okay, in order to change the way your blending options are, you just have to go over here. Okay, click on the keyframe basically. All right, click on the keyframe, and afterwards you have to right click on the keyframe. Okay, when your cursor shows this dot over here for the keyframe sign, right click and then select the type of effect that you want to put inside your keyframe. Let's put in a auto Bezier, and afterwards if I play the video, you'll notice that slowly it has affected the video. It has become a little bit of a curve. Okay, now in order to increase that effect, you just have to go over here, and here you'll see that we have this full stop inside of the circle. You can use this to increase or decrease the effect of the auto Bezier. Okay, now when I am done with this, if I play it, now you can see that this is what happens. Okay, we can also go ahead and then totally make it flat just like that. And now if I play it right after the first clap, you'll notice that our video comes in with a bit of a delay, giving us a better effect rather than just having a straight keyframe over here. Okay, let's say I added another keyframe. Okay, right there. Now if I play the video, you'll see that it's like a sudden change in frame. Okay, so I don't want that, so I'll just click on it and delete it. So let's click on that. And after pressing delete, you'll notice that my keyframe is gone. Okay, now let's press Ctrl Z to go back to a default position. Okay, and afterwards, let's say I select this part over here, right click and select a hold. Now in hold, you'll notice that the effect just continues until it forms a right angle over here and goes up again. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so after the hold effect, we have the Bezier. Just like before, it will provide a little curve. Okay, so these are all the effects you need to know. And if you want more options with the effects, go to effect controls, and then here you can see that we have the opacity of every single keyframe over here. We can also add and remove keyframes. You can go to the next and previous keyframe. We can reset the parameter also. All right, there you go. After resetting the parameter, you'll notice that everything over here goes back to the way it was. Okay, so this is what happens. All right, then we have the blend mode, which I'll teach you in another lesson. So after that, what I want to teach you right now is basically you can use the pen tool over here to also create masks, and we can use it for masking a part of our video in the program panel. But before that, we actually need to learn about the pen tool, which we can use on our program panel. All right, so the pen tool is just like Adobe Photoshop and After Effects, or even the Illustrator, and it is a robust set of drawing tool to enhance your project. And you can create straight or curved paths, and just like before, you can mask objects or color correct sections of the frame. Okay, now first, if I select a point over here, you'll notice that I have a vertex point. All right, then if I select another point over here, now you can see that this is the direction line, or basically the line which follows the next part. Okay, now let's say I created another point over here, but this time instead of like letting it go, I click and hold it, and now you can see that I have a curve over here. Okay, then I can continue to create some more lines just like that. Okay, let's press Ctrl Z, and this time I want another curve over here, so let's do that. Right, let's create another curve over here. And then we can just click on this, and now you can see that we have a W shape using our pen tool. Okay, so this is how you create curves. And I can just use the selection tool over here, and over here you can see that after I'm done making my shape, there is a graphic in my video frame. Okay, now this means that it is a totally movable frame over here. I can increase it, I can decrease it to any amount I want. Okay, and I can also use the pen tool over here in order to create the effect also. So let's use the pen tool, click on it 2 times. All right, so let's scroll up a bit. And here you can see that I can use the pen tool in order to create keyframes over here and also make it a bit editable. Now, if I double click on this, you notice that we have our text graphics pop up, and here we can select multiple parts from which we can select the graphic from. Okay, now we can also select transcriptions, and we can also create captions using this effect. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this panel since we're not doing this today. Let's close this panel too, and go back to effect controls. Now, if I select this over here, you can see that I have a effect for vector motion, then also video motion, which is the background over here. And I can create a lot of types of edits using these options. Now, over here, you can see that I have the essential graphics panel, and then I can also select the amount of alignment I want. Okay, and then we can also select the position by just dragging over here, the height and the width. Then we can go over here and toggle for anchor point. Then we can go over here and also basically toggle for animation scale. I can click on that and it can create a animation scale. Okay, let's click on it again to remove it. And then over here we have toggle for animation opacity. Now it will basically increase or decrease the opacity that we have. And if I right click on it, you can see that we have some options: edit properties, which will show me the essential graphics panel, cut, copy, paste, clear, duplicate, align to video frame, nudge. Now what nudging will do, basically move it and nudge it by some frames. Okay, now here I can select the keyframe, I can select the fill. Okay, not the keyframe. If I deselect this, you'll notice that this is what happens. Okay, now I can then select this option to mask with shape, select invert, or just select mask fill only. Afterwards, what will happen is basically I'll create a mask for this. Okay, so if I go back, you'll notice that this is the same actually. Okay, nothing is basically happening yet because I haven't done everything that I need for this. All right, go over here and just make it smaller. There you go. I have some space now. Okay, so now what I'm about to do is show you how to create straight lines at several angles. Okay, now first over here you can see that I have this option over here. Let me just delete this. Okay, now if I play the video, you'll notice that this is what it looks like. Okay, so in order to create straight lines, delete this anchor point, or basically the keyframe. Okay, now use the pen tool over here and press right here. Then if I press shift and select another point over here, you can see that over here it is a straight line. And if I select a straight horizontal line over here, you can see that it does it too. Now if I click down, pressing shift, and I'll hold it on my keyboard, it'll create a straight line just like that. Okay, now this way we can create multiple straight lines and easily use Adobe Premiere Pro. Okay, afterwards we can basically duplicate it if we want and then use it as much as we need, resize it just like that, move it around, delete it if you don't want it. There you go, we have it done. And if I go over here and delete everything, okay, you'll see that it's gone. All right, so this is how you create straight lines using the pen tool. All right, so afterwards I will teach you how to create curves. Wait, I already did that, so let's move forward to the next part where I'll teach you how to create freeform shapes. Now, this is basically for masking, so let's continue ahead. All right, so over here, let's say I want to create a mask of this area over here using the pen tool. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a shape with our pen tool first. Okay, let's say that I want to create a shape of the letter A. Okay, so in order to do that, first I need to, or not the letter A, let's just use the letter C. Okay, let's use the letter C. So let's select the point over here, delete it, and go over here and delete it as well. Pen tool again. Okay, there are some points over here that I need to actually make before doing this. Just that. And then put this part here. Okay, press shift, create a straight line. Okay, this will do for now, and afterwards I would like it to go here. You know what, let's do this again. Put one point over here, then put the last point over here. Okay, now that we are done creating the shape over here, okay, let's just, so after this we'll just go to the effect controls over here and then go to opacity. All right, select the effect, make sure it's on, and then we are ready. All right, now what will happen is basically it will create a C or a freeform shape over here. So let's select it first. Now you can see that we have our mask ready. Now, before doing that, I'd like to use the selection tool over here to delete the previous one. That was just for example. So let's use the pen tool again. Go to effect controls. And I'll just put a dot over here. Okay. After that, I'll go to opacity, select this. And over here, I want to create a freeform shape. So I'll do that. Mask 1. Let's create the shape of an L or the alphabet L. Okay, for now, this will do. Now, after that, I can go over here and then basically, so this is how you create your mask. All right, so let's move on to the next part of our video where I will teach you how to create a shape with our shape tool. So let's go on ahead and select the rectangle tool first. Okay, we have three shapes tool: rectangle, ellipse, and polygon. Okay, so let's select the rectangle tool, make a rectangle. Okay, afterwards you will see that in the essential graphics section we have a shape 2. We can also go over here and clear the shapes that we have, select this shape, and then we can basically resize it anywhere. Okay, we can put in a color fill. All right, we can put in a stroke as well. We can put a shadow also. Okay, now if you want to increase the width or the height of the shape, you can do that also. If you want to increase the rounded curves of your shape, you can do that too, as you can clearly see. Okay, and afterwards we can also rotate the animation just like that. Then here, which will basically toggle for an animation scale, and here we can move this in any part of our screen in the program panel. And we already know this, line options. Okay, so now if I go over here to fill and click on it, you can see that it brings in a color. Okay, now I can go over here, select any color I want, and you can see that inside this space over here, the color is changing for our rectangle. Press OK and you are done. And we can also go inside the timeline panel over here and see what is actually happening. You can see that this is the graphic over here. Okay. We can increase the time, duration. Okay, now if I play the video, you'll notice that this graphic is everywhere in our video. See? We can also go ahead and use the pen tool over here in order to decrease our opacity. Right click over here, select Bezier. Now you'll notice something, that when I click on a specific point over here, it will give me two handles, just like the handles in Illustrator or even Photoshop. I can use these handles to make curves for my keyframes. Okay, now let's say I want it to be a bit curvy over here. We can do that also. All right, now let's end this over here. So let's put that there, just like that. Okay, now if I play it, you will notice that this is what happens. We can go ahead and add some captions or transcriptions over here. Afterwards, it will slowly fade out with the video itself. So this is how you use the shape tools. Now I only showed you the rectangle tool. Let me go ahead and show you the other tools also. Let's pause it over here. And this time I want to remove this. So click and hold ellipse tool. You can create a shape over here. And if you press and hold shift while creating a shape, you'll see that it is a perfect circle. Okay. After that, you can see that this is what happens. And now I'll use the polygon tool. But before that, let's use the selection tool. Select this. And now you can see that I can resize it as well without needing to use our shape tool again. Then over here, we can select the center. After this, what we have to do is basically go over here, delete this thing, and you'll notice in the graphic panel, it is blank. So we can just delete it as well. Let's go ahead and use the other tool, the polygon tool. Click and drag, and here you can see that we have a triangle. Okay, now if you see clearly that we have the shape, and if we just press shift just like before, it will create an equilateral triangle, but this time it is equal on all sides and it is increasing proportionately through all sides as well. Okay, there you go. Select it and then move it anywhere. You can see this is the center. We can go over here, rotate it as well. We can go over here and then rotate it from here. Now you can see that this is what happens. Okay, there you go. All right. All right, so now say I want to increase the number of sides over here and create a polygon. For doing that, I'll go over here. Let me increase the size over here so that I can see the option. And here you can see that it's written as 3. We can just click over here, then delete it and type in 7. If I type in enter, now you can see that this is how the polygon tool looks like. Okay, then afterwards, if I go over here, you can see that we can rotate it. We can decrease the curvature of the sides as well. We can go over here, expand it, change the center, rotate it again, just like that. So this is how we use the polygon tool. All right, so that was all for this lesson. I hope you've understood how to use the polygon tool, pen tool, and all the rest of the shapes over here, rectangle, ellipse, polygon. Okay, so thank you for watching this lesson, and I'll see you in the next video.